Alan Jackson believes in keeping country music country. Alan Jackson is a man who stands up for what he believes in.
In Nashville, we like to say that it all starts with a song, and a lot of those songs have started with Alan Jackson.
Alan Jackson, you are a true American icon and a giant of country music.
Alan, I just want to thank you for being a good friend of mine, for being a good friend to country music.
And don't rock the jukebox. Wanna hear George Jones, but here in the real world, it's not that easy at all.
New male vocalist from Georgia, Mr. Alan Jackson.
First of all, I want to thank Garth Brooks for not being nominated in this category. I'm going to keep going here, boys. Might not get another chance.
G with an O, O with a D, T with an I and a M and a E and a good time. Good time. He's gone country. Look at them boots. He's gone country. Back to his roots. It's only 12:30, but I don't care. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. But it's alright to be a little bitty. A little hometown or a big old city. Might as well share, might as well smile. Life goes on for a little bitty while. Don't be falling in love as she's walking away. When your heart won't tell your mind to tell your mouth what it should say.
Alan, the first concert I ever went to was yours. I was 11 years old and I was so excited, practically doing backflips.
Now there ain't no cure for the summertime blues. I think this is a pretty good cure out here on the water today, though.
The award goes to Alan Jackson.
It's like an old-fashioned storybook ride, living on love. You must be the dream I've been dreaming of. Oh, what a feeling, it must be love. I'm trying to love only you. I'm in love with you, baby. I don't even know your name. I've never been too good with all those sexual games. So maybe it's just better if we leave it this way. I'm in love with you, baby, and I don't even know your name. Where were you when the world stopped turning that September day?
And the award for Song of the Year goes to Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning?
Where were you when the world stopped turning? Alan Jackson!
Did you feel guilty cause you're a survivor in a crowded room? Did you feel alone? Did you call up your love?
Without humbling y'all to death up here, I've always felt uncomfortable about the attention that this song has brought to me. And I guess I was always uncomfortable about what it was written about. Because I'm still angry and sad and forever changed about, you know, what happened that day. And I thank God for sending the words and music down to me, because I believe I was an instrument for that, and for whatever reason.
Alan Jackson's quiet and moving song, Where Were You?, has offered comfort to millions.
That September day. 'Cause it's midnight in Montgomery. Just hear that whippoorwill. Daddy, let me drive. Daddy, let me drive. Remember when the sound of little feet was music? Living on love, buying on time. Without somebody, nothing ain't worth a dime. Just like an old-fashioned storybook rhyme, living on love.
I just wanted to recite a couple of lines from a song that I called Job Description that I wrote for my little girls. And these lines I want to say are, each night I take the stage with a six-piece band and a guitar in my hand, singing songs about my life, all the good times and the bad. Then we say goodbye and we load it up and head somewhere I've already been. And I lay down in that double bed alone, and I thank the Lord again. And I thank y'all.
They built walls all around it, and he made that house a home. Precious memories, how they sing a little Blue Ridge Mountain song, and he'd just hum along. They'd dance all night till dawn. I'll go on loving you. I'll go on loving you. I was glad to see the blacktop when they laid it down in 65. Girl, you can call me. I'll let it ring and ring, so you don't have to love me anymore. Chasing that neon rainbow, living that honky-tonk dream, 'cause all I've ever wanted is to pick his guitar and sing. Long live the little man. God bless the little man. Wanted one good-hearted woman to forgive imperfection in the man that she loved. Raised on the ways and gentle kindness of a small town southern man.
Your music, I've met everybody in it. This guy's very, very special. Our Grand Ole Opry member, Alan Jackson. Yeah.
Too much of a good thing is a good thing.
The 68th member of the Grand Ole Opry. Everybody, welcome Mr. Alan Jackson.
Thank you, Randy. That murder was committed down on Music Road. On the clock again. I've just got time for one more round. I had choices from the day that I was born. There were voices who told me right from wrong. If I had listened, oh, I wouldn't be here today. And soon they'll carry him away. He stopped loving her today.
We love you, George.
Well, way down yonder on the Chattahoochee, it gets hotter than a hoochie coochie. We laid rubber on the Georgia asphalt. We got a little crazy, but we never got caught. Down by the river on a Friday night.
If I wasn't me, I'd like to be Alan Jackson.
I know you would.
I love you, Alan Jackson.
Up city streets, down country roads, I can get you where you wanna go, 'cause I'm a country boy. Yeah, I'm a country boy. Oh, I'm just a country boy.
Howdy! How many people are here? My name is Jerry House. I'll be your handler for this morning's presentation. It's a little early. Some of these guys got in pretty late last night, and they may have been overserved, if you know what that means. And we've got a great lineup of folks, people who've known my friend Alan Jackson for a long, long time. We're here today to celebrate 25 years of nothing but success and hits and magic from the guy. How about it, Alan Jackson? I used to do a radio show called The Waking Crew, and it was probably 28, 29 years ago, and I did it live from the stage of the Grand Ole Opry House out at Opryland, and we had a live band. It was the last live performance show on the radio in America, and they had two singers. One was Lori Morgan, and the other was a skinny guy in blue jeans who would come up from the mail room where he worked and sing a song, and then I would interview Alan Jackson, which usually went like, got a big career here, Alan, you're working in the mail room, you're going to get a record deal, I know you're excited to be here. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Alan Jackson. But he's just a wonderful guy, and I've known him for a long, long time. And I want to introduce you to the people who will be telling you more about Alan. And by the way, I want to thank the Country Music Hall of Fame. If you have not been through, have you been through the Hall of Fame here? It's just remarkable for allowing us to host this. Our first speaker is, I've known him a long time too. He is the CEO of Alan's record label, Universal Music, and you will soon learn. Mike Dungan gets paid by the word, and he's going to make a lot of money today, I bet. Mike, come on out here. Mike Dungan, ladies and gentlemen, who is... Mike is wearing something from the Boxcar Willie collection, and it looks lovely. All right. No. We're going to bring Mr. John Huey. John is the agent extraordinaire who is behind the scenes and is the man who makes sure that Alan Jackson and all the stars get to the venue, and they make sure that things are perfect, and he has been one of the really an exemplar agent for many, many years. John Huey. John, come on out. John Huey!
Before any smart-ass comments, Mike and I are both bigger than you.
That's right. Okay, so, and finally, the guy who actually runs and is really instrumental in building this building. I mean, he is the guy who helped put together the Country Music Hall of Fame. He is the CEO of the Hall of Fame. Kyle Young. Kyle? And part-time Kyle sells Mary Kay Cosmetics, I think. No, I do, these pink socks. We want to start by the way, we're streaming live, and these comments that you see up here are going to be coming in as Mike Dungan speaks to you about the career and the man and how did you first meet Alan Jackson?
You know, I was, sorry, does it need to be on? Can you hear me? I was working for Arista Records on the pop side of the business for the big Clive Davis, working with Whitney Houston and the Grateful Dead and a bunch of other pop artists. And about the same time I came on board, it was announced that Arista was going to start a country music division. And I like some country music, but it was like anything else. There was stuff I liked, stuff I didn't. And met the people in Nashville. That was part of my job, was helping them. And I got a cassette from the guy who started Arista Nashville, a guy named Tim Dubois, and he sent me a cassette with like 5 songs on it. And they weren't even finished. They were rough demos. And it was this, I got a picture, and it was a guy that, to me, looked like a cross between a surfer and a cowboy. Had that long hair, that good looks, and that big cowboy hat. And I liked all the music, but in there was a song called Here in the Real World that just completely destroyed me. Thank you very much. I could not stop playing this song. I'm working around a bunch of pop music people, and I'm playing this song over and over and over in my office. People are begging me to stop. And it was really that song that made me feel like I want a career in country music. I want a career in Nashville. And I still attribute that song to the reason I moved here. So I came here after Here in the Real World was released as a single, but before it peaked up the chart, before the album came out. So I've worked with Alan for all but probably the first 5 months of his career. Alan did have another single prior to Here in the Real World called Blue-Blooded Woman. It was the first single, and company had a lot of hopes for it, and it peaked at, I think, number 57. It lasted about 2 weeks on the chart. And
so you have take no credit for that at all.
You
say I came in afterwards.
Before I got here, that's right.
Well, you know, that they just mentioned that maybe we ought to bring what's his name out.
That's a good idea.
He's already up to $5 grand, right?
I mean, after all, if we're going to talk about the guy, he ought to be out here and be able to defend himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Jackson.
All right, thank y'all. Morning. We never have gone to bed. We've been up all night.
Alan usually goes to bed about 8 o'clock, and he gets up about 5 o'clock. But he was totally thrown a curve last night because he got in about 2.
Yeah, we played that little club on Broadway stage down there after the CMT show last night, and just had a little fun night down there, like the old days playing bars. So it was a late night.
Would you feel better if there were chicken wire in front of us here now? Would it be?
Well, I'd feel more at home, yeah.
This guy right here, Alan, Mike Dungan, he was just telling us how if it hadn't been for him, you were backstage, you didn't get to hear that all your success is because of him. He was telling
I heard that, and
that Blue-Blooded Woman thing, that, you know, if I didn't step in after that, it might. Yeah.
I know it. You saved me, man. And I tell that story a lot on stage. I say, you know, just when I do Here in the Real World, I'd say this was my first big hit, but I had a single prior to that, and I've been working for years and finally got a record deal, and I was all excited. The song came out, and it just, like you say, it just kind of died a miserable death on the chart there. And I always say this too, that at the same time, Denise and I have been married for, I don't know how long we've been married then. What? 10 years, yeah. And anyway, we weren't really planning to have children, but at the same time, my first song died. She got pregnant, and we weren't planning that, and it wasn't great timing because the career wasn't starting great, and that single died. I thought, well, I guess I'm gonna have to go back to work, you know, and get a job. But then I always say, luckily, this song came out. And I hadn't worked since, is what I say, because I haven't. after Here in the Real World, it took off like a jet, you know. It's been rolling ever since.
I remember you lived in a little tiny 1-bedroom basement apartment, right? Down on the east side?
Yeah, I was lucky. Actually, when Denise and I first moved up here, I mean, I'd never been anywhere, and I talked her into moving up here, and I actually rented this apartment. You know, back then, before the internet, I just rented this apartment on the telephone, and it was supposed to be nice. And we pulled that U-Haul trailer over Mont Eagle full of our junk, and it was on Labor Day, 1985. And we pulled up into that apartment complex, and it wasn't quite the picture they had painted me on the telephone. I mean, it was supposed to be all adult and real nice, laid back, and all these children were running around with their britches off, and men had the cars jacked up in the parking lot, changing oil and all this. And Denise was like, I don't know about this. And she had to help me carry all the furniture. We didn't know anybody. She was carrying sofas up 2 flights of stairs. And within the first month we were there, we had a fire and a shooting. And so she said, I'm going home when you find somewhere else to live. So luckily I found this. I was working at the mailroom like you was talking about, and this boy had an apartment. He had a brick house on Donaldson Pike and had this really nice apartment underneath. He and his wife rented, and it was cheap, safe, and a wonderful place for us for about 5 years. And we lived. I was still living there after I had 1 or 2 hits. I remember the bus pulling up and picking me up at the basement.
This is the saddest story I've ever heard in my life.
I've got something worse than that, man.
I thought everything was just roses for you. Boy,
It has been, since then.
And Mike, did you, after you made his career, so what have you done since then?
It was, with Here in the Real World, it was immediate. I mean, it just took off like a rocket. I'd never been part of anything like that before, and I think, it was quite an adjustment for this man. But the career just exploded, and we worked together for the first 10 years of Alan's career, and then I left the company, and a couple of 2-3 years ago, Alan's contract was expiring at the company that I had left. And we went out to grab a hamburger one night, and we're just talking, and I said, boy, if you ever could see your way clear to leave over there, I sure would love to work with you again. I'm not sure why, but I would love to work with you again. No, we have a little running joke because we used to squabble quite a bit. Alan's pretty uncompromising in what he does, and there were many times as a marketing guy that I didn't understand that or appreciate it, and now that I look back, it's obviously it's what kept him true to himself. I mean, he stayed true to himself. He stayed true to his art. He stayed true to his principles, and I think that as much as the incredible talent and the brilliant material and songs that he's released over the years has given him this huge 25-year career, because he never played to anyone. He never tried to play to a fad. He never tried to change anything. He came into this town just to be Alan Jackson, the same guy that was in Noonan, Georgia, and it's the same guy that sits next to us now. And
Let me jump down to John here. John Huey, as an agent and as a longtime co-worker of, what credit do you want to take, John, for?
It's all with the artist right here. I mean, it's all about watching him succeed over the years and being able to guide and direct and lay out the opportunities for him to make the decision, because that's one of the things we do is we present Alan with the situation and the offers and the format, and he'll get back to us after he ponders and says, okay, yes, I will, or no, I won't. And when Mike said he's a man of principle, he always has been. I think when we first started working with him, I wasn't there in the early days. A good man named James Ellis was Alan's first agent, and he came to work at CAA, I think in '97, brought Alan with him. So that's where our journey started, and it's been a great 14 years with a 1-year sabbatical we won't get into, but it's been a joy to work with this man and a true icon. I think well over 1,000 shows, probably $250 million in tour grosses, and they say he's one of the class of '89. I'd say he's in a class of on his own. He's in a class all above. Looks like at the beginning of every year we go in and we lay down, talk about family first. We lay down all the birthdays, then we lay down all the holidays, and then we lay the prime summer months, because he wants to be with his family at the lake house. Well, if you take prime summer months out in the country music business, you're kind of, holidays, there's like no Labor Day, no Memorial Day. Y'all all know where all the big events are, So it has its challenges, but somehow by sticking to principles and sticking with the life that he's afforded himself to be able to live, he's stayed true to himself. And one funny thing is that when we first started working with him, he was a 2-show-a-week guy. He said, I'm only doing 2 shows a week. And then we graduated up to 3, and then he had management, and we discussed. He said, every time you take sound and lights, I don't know if
they don't want to hear all this, man.
Oh yeah, it is. I'm gonna say it's a point. It's a point I'm leading up to. You pay it by the week, and so you just, you leave money there. So we talked him 1 year into do 4 shows a week, and after that 1 year, he said, no, I'm not doing this again. It's too much time away from my family. I don't want to do that. We narrowed it down to 3, and now when we talked about the plan for this 25th anniversary tour, he says, look, He said, well, God only made one weekend, one Friday night, one Saturday night. I'm going back to 2 shows a week because that's what I want to give my fan is a great night of the week to see this show. So we're real excited about planning this tour, and I'm sure that'll be part of the conversation. I don't know. I wasn't told a timetable to lay everything out, but we're going to be a great spring. We're going to kick off 2015 with a big tour.
Well, Alan has told me many times that John is the one who's responsible for him being booked Friday night in Ontario and Saturday night in Lima, Peru. So
that's happened a couple times. Yeah.
Remember, I told you I was bigger than you. So.
Yeah. And finally, the guy down at the end there who's about to stand up to the podium. And are you going to stay with us here? Or are you going to move up?
What do you want me to do, Jerry?
I'd like you to stand up and really do the full frontal preacher thing here is what I'd really like.
Okay.
This guy right here, and again, needs to be lauded for building this building and bringing the Great Country Music Hall of Fame to us. This is Kyle Young.
You have to understand that when in the actual induction ceremony for Hall of Fame, it's held in this room, and Kyle, for years and years and years, has stood behind that podium and basically done this. So this is his natural environment. Everybody that's been inducted in the Hall of Fame, it started with this man talking right here.
And I appreciate that. Of course, you know, I run this museum, so I'm supposed to be not funny and much more formal than these guys, right? But I do have a couple of announcements to make related to the 25th anniversary. These guys have talked about Alan for 4, 5, or 10 minutes now, and you know, we're in this room is below a very important room in this building, where people are enshrined in the Hall of Fame. Alan is the musical legatee of Hank Williams and Ernest Tubb, George Jones, Merle Haggard, and all of those guys are up there. They're legends that are written in bronze. Alan has kind of followed in those footsteps and has written songs about his youth and his family, his faith, his values, good times, bad times. He's unique because he writes most of his own songs, but he also writes great stuff for others. Sort of like Guy Clark, you know, he writes what he knows, but he doesn't shy away from satire, commentary, joyful celebration, or the loss of our national innocence. Like Mike said, he made his Arista Records debut on the Billboard Country Singles Chart with Blue-Blooded Woman in 1989. His first album, Here in the Real World, spawned 3 top 5 singles, crowned with the #1 victory of the title song. He became a key figure in the country music class of '89, which is a watershed year noted as one of the most creative and productive in the whole history of this music. For the last 25 years, Alan Jackson has kept his adoring traditional audience while consistently attracting younger generations drawn to his personal integrity and his courage and his simple songs of the common man. To help celebrate his remarkable journey and his reverence for traditional country music, the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum plans 2 major events this year. First, Alan's fans can look forward to an Alan Jackson exhibition that will open in our new design gallery on Friday, August 29, and that will remain open until the spring of 2015. It's going to trace this Georgia native's career. It'll be a story that will be told with many of his personal mementos, including fan art, instruments, and stage wear. Among some of the objects that will be on display, very special, the Harley-Davidson Electroglide bike seen on the cover of the chart-topping album, A Lot About Living and a Little About Love.
It's not an Electroglide, it's an old Panhead, 58 Panhead.
Alan will also be helping us write. Is it a slalom ski that you used in the Chattahoochee
Yeah,
video?
it's a slalom. It was,
okay, good.
An
Got that one
O'Brien.
right.
It's an O'Brien ski. That was when they first came out with the concave plastic bottoms and it had a wood grain laminated.
They don't want to hear
deck.
all this.
Yes. You're probably right.
I knew that was coming.
But that is a ski I skied on when I was a teenager. So.
The red.
Sorry, Kyle.
That's quite all right. The red leather jacket worn in the Mercury Blues video, and a collection of his signature frayed and raggedy ass jeans. How about that? So, you know, we've been out collecting this stuff, and obviously we're grateful that he's given us access to his garages and his home and his personal retreat. Carolyn Tate, a staff member who puts all this stuff together for us, oversees our exhibition program. I think she's right on here. She's described what we're going to put up there as, quote, crazy, wonderful, rich hillbilly man cave things. That's what we're going to be doing. And hey, on the opening weekend, Alan's first love, his 1955 Thunderbird, will be on display here, so that is incredibly cool.
And Denise is going to pose with it, I think, that whole weekend, right?
This guy's career is so remarkable, in our opinion, that it's worthy of an even closer examination. The exhibition will be great, but I think we need more than that in order to do this guy justice. You know, we always accompany our public programs, our exhibitions with public programs, but I'm here today to announce that this is the first time our annual Artist in Residence program has been scheduled to coincide with an exhibition. This year on October 8 and October 22, Alan will become our 12th Artist in Residence, a program that honors an indisputable master who can be credited with a large and significant body of musical work. He'll put these two shows together himself. They'll be unique. More details to come.
Where we play that at?
This will be in, you know, we have just gone through a big expansion here. We added on 210,000 square feet. We will be moving this to our larger theater because we're pretty sure you can sell out 800 seats, huh, Alan?
You never know.
So it'll be in our CMA Theater, which is a marvelous, marvelous new theater that we'll sort of be breaking in with Alan here. Look, it's obvious. We really appreciate what you're doing, Alan, and on behalf of the staff and the Board of Trustees, we are incredibly excited about this, that we're going to be part of this celebration for your 25th anniversary, man. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kyle. And I think you'll agree that the Alan Jackson exhibit here is proof that people will do anything to avoid renting a storage unit, which is, I don't have room for this stuff. Did you want to thank a few people? Mike Dungan?
No, I didn't want to thank I didn't want to thank anyone.
Okay.
I'd like to thank
Mike.
you. I'd like to thank you and Denise. By the way, does everybody know a story on that car that's in the... Yeah, okay. All right, then I won't tell you again. All right. No, I just wanted to say, I wanted to recognize, it is very obvious what an incredible artist this is, but I think we do not fully understand what an incredible songwriter this man is. And that's what it's all about. This is a town where we have a phrase that it all begins with the song. This guy's had 35 number one. He's had 50, 60 top 10 hits. He's had 35 number ones. He's had 35 number ones, and of those, he wrote 24 of them himself. And that puts him in the same class as Paul McCartney and John Lennon. And Merle Haggard. And, you know, there's only a handful of people in history that have done that. And I think that that's never been fully talked about, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for that. You know, and I'd like to talk about a couple of songs, if you don't mind, because you know, is a long career, but along the way, in addition to here in the real world, a couple of things really touch me about what Alan does. When his father, Gene, passed away, he wanted to pay tribute to his father in some way, so what he does is he writes songs. Well, the unpredictable result, in my opinion, came of all this. He wrote a song that was up-tempo and fun, and in all the right ways celebrated the love he has for his father, the appreciation he has for the people around him, and it's just unbelievable that in a moment of sadness, this guy created something that is, you know, a true celebration song. And in Drive for Daddy Gene is simply one of the most masterful pieces I've ever witnessed. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And then, of course, we all know that, you know, Alan, when the towers came down, Twin Towers came down, Alan did what Alan does best. And I've talked to him since then, since he wrote this song, and he was really just trying to get his arms around the reality that life had dealt all of us at that time. And he wrote this song, which went on to become a symbol throughout the world of this event. And I know he's a bit embarrassed about that because it never was meant to be that. It was just his way of trying to deal with the set of circumstances and get his arms around what had just happened. But, you know, where were you when the world stopped turning? Just, you know, we'll live on for the rest of time, of course. And thank you for that.
And you know, Mike, one other thing.
Yeah.
He sits down and shows the diversity and the expanse of this man's artistic creativity and writing from the soul. He sits down and makes a record for his mama. You know, Precious Memories. And I do a lot of Christian artists as well, and I think they would die to have the sales of that record. 1.9 million on the way to double platinum. So it's something, like you said, writing a song about his dad, writing an album for his mom, just shows where it comes from the heart. If you're true to yourself, you're true to who you are as a person, it will find its home. And it found a lot of homes with you guys and a lot of people around the world, and we just want to appreciate that, and Alan sharing that part of his heart as well.
Well, and we're looking forward to more songs, and we're looking forward to what is to yet come from this man and this artist and this writer. And I'm happy to announce on his behalf that as part of this, there will be new music that he's working on right now.
Do we have a logo? Is there a logo we're going to see?
There is a logo.
Do you know about that?
To introduce that.
You're supposed to introduce the logo, the one thing you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Is that it?
It's pretty complicated.
Okay. That's the logo.
There you go. Yeah. And it's lucky it turned out to have 25 in it because, you know, that's the reason we're here.
Worked out just right, didn't it?
That's what's going to look great on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for coming, but before we go, I want the man that we're talking about here to have the last word.
Good night. No. Good day. No.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I know I'm talking too much today, but you said...
You always do, but that's fine. Go ahead.
You said...
What did I tell you? Paid by the word. That's what I said.
You said the man, and you know, I'm fortunate enough to get just a bigger glimpse than all of you, but too small of a glimpse into the man. And when we put the last record out, which was the first one that Alan had done for my company, EMI Records at the time, now Universal Music Group, I convinced him, because when you're a new artist, you go out on the road and you meet all the radio people and you do all the handshaking and everything. Well, when your career explodes, you don't really have time to do that anymore. And I convinced Alan that after 20 years that maybe it'd be fun to go back out and shake hands with some of these radio people and meet some of these people and do some of the uptight glad handling. And he went, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?" And
I'm terrible at it. That's why.
He dreaded it. But we got on a plane and we went around the country and visited about 15 radio stations. And I'll tell you, this is what happened everywhere we went. He dreaded it, and he was. I didn't really fully understand why. Of course, here's Alan Jackson walking in a radio station. Everyone at that radio station is nervous. They don't know what to expect. They're nervous. And we would go and have a great meeting, and then we'd get back on the plane, and Alan would say, "Well, they were really nice." And then we go to the next one, he'd get nervous, and then he'd come back and go, "Well, they were really nice too." And we found that we were talking more about kids and family and stuff like that, and what time you get up and what do you eat for lunch and stuff like that, more than music. And what kills me about this, and this is just a general statement that I'd like to make, when we were finished with all of it, here's Alan Jackson, a man who sold 60 million records. He said, I was really dreading that, because you go out there, I'm thinking radio people, but you know what? They were just regular people, just like you and me.
I'm one of those radio people.
You're not regular, though.
I remember the first time I went to Alan's house, and my wife and I walked in, and she said, "Where's the gift shop?" I mean, this is a big house. Wrap it up for us, pal.
I used to go see you, though, at the radio in town. I'd come by and see you every now and then.
Yes. You want to talk about the one time you showed up?
Well, I don't know which one.
He would just come in unannounced, and one morning he walked in. He just got a new endorsement deal with a product, and he decided to demonstrate it. He came in with his blue jeans on and his underwear outside his pants. Only two people can do that, Alan Jackson and Superman.
Well, you got to tell them why.
I never knew why.
Oh, you did. Because everybody kept talking about, when I got that Fruit of the Loom deal, did I wear boxers or briefs, and so I finally just put them out there where they could see them. And I wanted to embarrass you if I could. That was the main thing.
Well, it worked, and you've done that many times. 25 years?
Jerry, when this was before, I had to say this because this was when I was new in town and just songwriting and singing demos. When I'd sing demos for songwriters in studio, they'd call me when it was a real country song. Obviously, it was out of sound country, and he had this little segment that for a while there he played people's songwriters' songs.
Daily demos. I played the demos of songs, and you were one of them.
Yeah, so they'd play them. It helped songwriters get their songs heard. It was really cool that he did that. But anyway, he played one that I sang, and when he got through, he said, "Sounds like that guy singing had been sleeping under Vern Gosden's bed." Because I loved Vern, and I was trying to sing like him.
Absolutely.
So that was the biggest compliment he could have ever given me as a young guy in town. I'll never forget that. That was so cool.
Well, here's hoping that there's 25 more wonderful years for this guy right here, Alan Jackson. Thank you very, very much for coming, and I know Alan and Mike and Kyle and John appreciate it, and thanks to the Country Music Hall of Fame, and thank you once again for honoring our friend Alan Jackson. Thank you.
Am I supposed to say something now? Huh? No, I didn't get to really say anything. Jerry was hogging the microphone. But, this is so nice. Country Music Hall of Fame. It's hard for anybody to really understand where I came from and to have all this happen and to get where I am today. It's truly American dream. It's just because people don't realize how we had nothing, and I didn't know anything about music, and somebody in Georgia said, "Hey, you sound pretty good. You sound as good as some of them guys on the radio. Why don't you move to Nashville?" I said, "Okay." And that was basically what happened, and we came up here and just it just happened. I mean, just a miracle. It's just a miracle. And Denise and I still just can't believe all this is going on. And I remember writing on Music Row down there in one of the old, we wrote in a bunch of the old houses back then, and they were little songwriting rooms, and we were upstairs. I don't even know who I was writing with now. We just go down there at 9 o'clock in the morning and write a song or two. And we were upstairs in this attic room, and the door was propped open with this music award. And I went over there and looked at it, and it was one of Chris Christopherson's awards. And I thought that was so cool, but I also thought, if I ever win an award, I am not going to prop it up and leave it at some building somewhere, prop and open the door. So I made sure we've tried to keep all of that memorabilia and everything, and I've got so many awards. It's just embarrassing, I swear. That girl from the museum came to our house. I know her head was spinning because we've tried it. We don't just lay it out like, show it off, but I do have places where we just keep it because we have to, but it's just, there's just so many awards from not just the CMAs and the ACMs and just little radio stations that give me things, and mayors that gave me keys to the cities all over the country and all over the world, all these awards. It's crazy. If y'all could see all that, and that's what this whole thing is. I'm hoping we're going to get to share some of this stuff up here, because it's just, I can't even believe it. When I walk through our house sometime and look at that, it just makes my head spin. But anyway, like I was saying, I've just been so blessed, and I don't know why, but I just always try to think that I always take it back to the music. That's what I came here for, is to sing country music. And I've tried to stay on that, and I still think that's, like Mike says, if you keep having a song every now and then that means something, it'll keep your career going for a while. And I think I've always tried to write songs for my fans, and because I'm still a fan, and I write stuff that I like and I think that they like, and I record other people's songs the same way. So I just hope it all goes back to the music, because all the other stuff in the spotlight really doesn't mean anything without the music there. So I just appreciate all the fans and enjoying the music all these years, and of course thank the Country Music Hall of Fame for making all this, giving us all this attention. And the 25 years is just crazy. And so we're just, I know a lot of people are asking me if this was a retirement announcement, and I just don't know. I've told this before. I don't know what I'd retire from. I don't work much now. But I'd just like to do like some of my heroes, like Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard and George Jones. People, they just worked on up, and they're still working, some of them, and playing as much as they can. And if they get tired, they slow down a little bit. And I'll just probably do the same thing as long as I'm still enjoying it and the fans are still enjoying it. So anyway, thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. A lot of nice words here. Very sweet. I'm not going to be able to get my hat off because I think my head swelled up so big from all these compliments.